Effective Living offers life management group coaching. This is a great introductory option for those who are ready for guidance to structure your life in such a way where there is a harmonious balance between having enthusiasm for what you need to do, coupled with fulfillment of doing what you want to do. Join our group coaching program today to start creating a life you don't need to take a vacation from. More information about our group coaching program can be found at www.ricardomiller.com.
Hello, 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 beautiful people. It is so good to be back live and in full effect with my good friend, none other than Pastor Rosemary Winbush. So much have been going on over the last, 4 months, and even before 4 months. But welcome back to Effective Living.
It's great to be back. Thank you for having me again. This is exciting. It's always exciting to be with you. I love conversations with Coach Ricardo.
Listen, I know you've gone through a transition in the children's ministry role, but you're still offering some services in that role. You from serving at your church to your business and external ministry platform, what you and your husband are doing. Let's dive right into this. Because I don't know if to call you coach, doctor, pastor, elder. You've earned all of them, and so tell us a little bit about Rosemary Winbush for our viewing audience.
Well, like you said, it's a lot of things going on. So I have deemed myself with the called name of SALT. SALT, which means that I'm a speaker, I'm an author, I'm a leader, and I'm a trainer. So what I've been doing now is really doing mentorship for people in their personal, professional, and family life. And I'm loving it. I'm loving this journey. Last year, my husband and I, we kind of transitioned out of leadership inside the walls of the church because God is calling us into the marketplace to actually do ministry. And we started another company last year called WRW International LLC. And that's going to be more of the coaching, mentorship, consulting, and diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. But we kept our company Kairos International because I believe that God wanted us to do ministry through this particular company. And this is really getting back into the marketplace, talking to people in the marketplace, in the workplace, about how they can leverage their faith, how they can bring the kingdom into the marketplace, because I think that's something that we have left on the table far too long, about being afraid, of being about timid with our faith in the workplace. But we're supposed to dominate. We're supposed to have the authority there. And we're supposed to, make sure that we take over these mountains again and let God be the viewing position of who he is to the world in that sense. So it's not just local. It's not just national. It's international. It's global. And this is what we're all about right now.
This is so cool. We've been friends for a while now. We've had the opportunity to co-labor on so many different projects. Over the years, I've seen you make a commitment to training and development. where did would you say that commitment came from? Where did you get the drive, the love? Because everybody don't have it. Some people, they're just like, thank God I got my degree. Please don't ever put another book in. And then there are young people, thank God I graduated high school, don't put another class in front of me. Training and development has always been apparently a passion of yours. You both and your husband. Where did it come from for you?
Well, I'm going to tell you, many years ago, I started out in children's ministry. And when I really got into that area, I saw that there needed to be a lot of training. And I remember this lady, she said to me, every time I turn around, you're going to some kind of training. And I said, yeah, because I need to learn about what I'm doing. And I want to keep learning because I want to be one of the best in the industry of where I'm leading, especially in the kingdom. And I always say that we should never stop learning because learning helps us to rethink about things. It keeps us energized. It keeps us on the cutting edge of what's happening. And so if you stop learning, if you stop getting training, you're going to be stagnant. And I don't think people are going to be really happy with themselves. And that's why I believe we see a lot of people in their lives and they are in this place and they feel like they can't get ahead. They feel like they are just not being who they want to be because they have eliminated a large part of getting coached, a large part of getting training. Because my philosophy is, as long as there are people being born in the earth, there's always room for training because we need to learn. We need to learn some things as we're going along. And guess what? I don't know everything. You don't know everything. Nobody knows everything. We know a lot of some things, but the more we look toward training, the better we become at who we can be and our potential that's inside of us. So training really helps to extract what God has already put in us because we need to level up, so to speak, so that we can get what we need to get and go where we need to go. So that's been my heart of training.
Some people, they, if the company sends me, I'll go. If the church sent me, I'll go. But how important is it for one to just, be willing to invest in yourself, even if the company never sent you, even if a church never sent you? I mean, having that personal commitment to be, okay, continual education is a must, but you being the one to be the initiator to ensure that training and development is occurring in your own life, even if nobody else does it for you.
You said something important right there. You said your own life. You got to own your own destiny because when you do it for yourself, nobody can take it away from you. Nobody can say, hey, we did this for you. You give us the accolades, but you can pat yourself on the back and say, I took this initiative to grow and expand my capacity and who I'm going to become in the days ahead. And so I believe that it's so important for us to invest in ourselves. And a lot of times, people don't want to do that because sometimes I think people feel like they're getting scammed or they feel like it's not worth it, but they don't put the true value on what training will give you in your life as you move forward. So we've got to value training and we've got to take that self-initiative to do it. Because it's something rewarding inside yourself when you do it. It's kind of like when kids learn how to ride a bike. Instead of you having to have those training wheels on there all the time, when you learn how to do it and you have control, you feel really great about learning that new skill about riding a bike. It's the same way. Once you learn a new skill, you have room to grow and you have room to be free and not have any constraints on you because now you feel like you're an expert or you have some expertise in the area where you wanting to get your training.
Totally agree. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm joined with Rosemary Winbush out of Jacksonville, Florida. What's the weather like in Jacksonville right now?
Today, it's beautiful. The sun is out. I don't know, we might hit like 80 degrees today. I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the weather report, but it's beautiful outside here. How about there, where you are?
Overcast. And appear to not, I guess it's raining somewhere in this area, but it's not raining. It's not projected to rain where I'm at. And so, but it's overcast and humid though. So we're starting to feel the shift, we're starting to feel the shift. Let's talk about the fact, training and development. And, 2020 was a major shaking up out year for every industry on the planet. And that whole pivoting concept was widely thrown out there that, boy, if you don't pivot, you'll die, right?
Mhm.
For a lot of entities. We're talking about change and the role change plays in training and development, because obviously everything, I like what Keno McCartney said when I was interviewing him. He said everything has changed. It's not even just changing, it has changed first and foremost. And a lot of people haven't captured that. Let's connect training and development to change. What's your view there?
Wow. Training and development is a catalyst for change, and change needs to happen in order for any industry or any person to advance and go forward. So, in this training and development, I think that's happened with this, everything changing right now. We're seeing people maybe working more from home, using technology more in their workplace. Maybe some jobs are obsolete because you know things have shifted so much that now we're trying to figure out. I think companies and all of us are trying to figure out, even in the church, trying to figure out what do we need going forward? Because there's some jobs that weren't existing even in some churches before, and now they're heavily needed because we're using technology. We're doing lives, and we're getting all these new platforms and all these different things. So we need to be trained in these areas. And there's a whole different level of training and development when it comes to the shift in the earth about how things are going to be done going forward, that everybody is having to learn something new. We have cryptocurrency, we have all of this technology, we have these new platforms, we have things that are even right now as we speak emerging, coming forward. And if we don't know about what's happening, we will be left behind to some degree, but there's always room for improvement. So I think that as things are changing and things are going to continue to change, we need to keep an open eye to see what's happening and what kind of opportunities are out there for us, because we might be missing some great opportunities to reach people, to improve our professional lives, and to expand the territory where we have left behind and changed and moved into, because now is the time and the really great opportunity for us to get in and learn, because we'll be at the forefront of something. And I always say that when you can lead in an area and be the first in it, you're going to be you're going to get the greatest reward from it.
Yeah, yeah. Which a lot of people want that reward. They probably sometimes don't want to take the effort that it's going to require to blaze a trail. It's interesting, but
Yeah.
you're so right. Let's talk about, you're a person of faith. I'm a person of faith. The role that faith has to the faith-based community and the kingdom, the Christendom, have to accept in the training and development element. What's your view there? A lot of churches are, I heard one pastor the other day, I'm zoned out. I don't care to have another Zoom session in my church. I don't care to have another get them people back in the building. And it is because they don't want to turn, because for 38 years he had pastored one way. And 2020 disrupted that way and introduced a lot of new ways. And there's going to be a lot of training and development that's going to be required for faith-based entities to continue to thrive if they're going to exist. What's your view there in regards to the church and its role to embrace training and development to stay on the cutting edge?
Yeah, so I really believe that if we have to really look at discipleship, because I think discipleship is the ultimate training and development when it comes to our faith. Now, there's other things that we need to look at, like what you're talking about, how, some pastors are saying, maybe I don't want to do this anymore. But the reality is there's a nation of people in technology that we need to reach. And some people probably are going to take a lot longer, if at all, to get back into the doors of the church. So how we look at discipleship, to create that through the virtual lens, and also to create it in the in-person lens, like we say hybrid, where you have it in person and virtual, is going to be critical for the church, because I believe that in some of this shifting, God has opened our eyes to see that we need to take more time in training people in discipleship so that if we're not in the church, we still have the skill sets for the community of believers to reach other people. And we also within the church have the skill sets and the wherewithal to know that it's key for us to keep embracing these hybrid concepts, because some people, even before this pandemic came, there were some people who had never set foot in a church. But then we had so many people, I would say ambassadors or deputized, that were on social media talking about God, and so many people got saved. Now, there's sometimes people will say, oh, well, that person didn't know enough, or they didn't know the scripture enough, or they shouldn't be doing this. But then I say that's a fallacy of the church. We should have been equipping people and making people ready so that when things like this happen, we do have people that are well trained and well suited to get on platforms or wherever they are, in person, outside in the community, to share the gospel of Jesus Christ. So it all to me boils back down to proper discipleship, and then also gauging what's going to be necessary for us to make sure that the kingdom purpose and plan continues, even in situations like this.
You referred to it a couple of times while you mentioned your points just now, and I want to dive into it a little bit, and that is that virtual learning element. And obviously the hybrid view is now of you. A lot of people, there were some churches who never went virtual. There are some churches who never went virtual, and virtual learning is here to stay. And you have been all over virtual. You were virtual before virtual was virtual. Like before it was popular, you were doing Zoom. And I think once or twice we've had meetings and you're like, let's just jump on a Zoom. I'm thinking, what is a Zoom? So you were willing and already tapping into the concept of virtual ministry and virtual training and development. The role virtual plays in is going to continue to play in the future. What's your position there?
I think virtual gives us a greater reach. I think that we can touch people in areas and spaces and places that we had never thought about, but we still had the capacity to do it. But it wasn't really pushed in our faces, so to speak, until we had to deal with it. And so for me, virtual is easy, it's stress-free, it's less cost, and it does, I think the biggest part of it, it expands the reach of who we can touch and who we can learn from, and those that we can train. So even for you and I've done so much stuff virtually, I believe, in the last 2 years than I have ever done in my life. But I have found it to be very easy. I have found it to be very rewarding in certain instances. And I can see people that I would not probably, sometimes even I could say maybe have the resources, where if I wanted to go to Europe or if I wanted to learn something that was specialized skill sets, that now I have the access to do it, and people are making it available. And I believe that's going to be the key thing. If the majority of people are making training available in a virtual arena, then if we don't keep up with it, then we will miss out, because now I know that I can receive training and development virtually. And if I want to get it, I can sit in the comfort of my own home and do it. There are some benefits about being in person, I will say that. But if it's just training and learning, and it's something that you really feel like you need, then it's available to us. Companies have been doing it for years. They have continuing education and a lot of different things like that, that people can just jump on, learn, receive, and then move forward. But I believe that virtual learning is important. I believe that it is here to stay. And I believe that it does create access to greater opportunities and reaching more people.
Pastor Rosemary, I heard of a pastor lately who was fired. He was fired. The deacons fired him because he said that he did not thought Sunday school in the Braco classrooms in its traditional form needed to come back. And they said it's been 2 years we've not had Sunday school. And we don't want to do no breakout rooms in no virtual space. We want to go back in the building. Long story short, they fired the pastor. What's your view there? That's a hard blow.
That is a hard blow. I think that, like we said, this hybrid compromise in the middle is a great thing. There are some people who want to be back inside the church. There are some people who love to be in person to do learning. And sometimes that could be their learning skill set. It may be challenging for someone to learn virtually. However, I would say the majority of the people, and even people going forward, people who have an open mind perspective, they're going to do virtual. So I think that at that point, there should have been some compromise to say, how can we do it together? How can we work on this and make it work for us in our community of church? And sometimes you have to even ask the people, what is your comfort level of learning, and what do you like? Because then it wouldn't have been an issue with the pastor or the deacons, because the people that we serve are saying this is what we want. So I think there's some common ground that we should look at when it comes to virtual learning, especially in the church, because that's what a lot of people have been used to for a lot of years in their life. But
Yeah.
I think it's a hard blow to let somebody go because they want to try something different. And different isn't necessarily something that's not good. It's just different.
Yeah. Different is not something that is not necessarily that is not good. It is simply that different. I really, really like that. Let's talk about before we bring our talk to a close. Let's talk about some of the common mistakes we see people make when it comes to training and development. You've gone to conferences, I've gone to conferences. There's been a number of meetings where people would have gone to and walked away with nothing, and it wasn't that the meeting didn't have anything. It was that the person did not probably do right in how they went to the meeting. Any views on what one should do or prepare themselves, or how do you walk away from a meeting making sure, in your view, hey, I went to the training and I'm going to walk away from this training, even if it's what not to do?
Yeah. So I really think that when you go to any training, you have to ask yourself, number one, why am I going?
Yeah.
And what do I want to receive?
Yeah.
And if you go in with the intention that you're going to receive something, then you have to have a strategy on what you receive, on how you're going to implement it. Because a lot of times, we've gone to a lot of conferences, and we've even taught at a lot of conferences
Yeah.
where people go, and then people will be all fired up when they're there. They'll say that was great. And then they get back to their home places, and then there's like kind of back in this lull again, because they let the excitement or the momentum kind of dwindle out before they got back to where they were supposed to be, or because they didn't have a strategy on how they were going to implement what they learned. So I believe that when you go into a conference, know why you're going, find out what you want to learn, and have an expectation and a strategy on how you're going to take some of the things that you learn and implement them, because then that's when you're going to see the result of what you learn. And I think that's across the board. If we don't look at what we receive and put it into use, then it's almost like you went there for no reason at all. So, and I always say too, if you can implement at least 2 to 3 nuggets that you receive, you're going to be better than most people, because I would say about maybe 75 or even up to 80% of people who go to conferences, they go there, they get filled up while they're there, but they don't take a lot of the ideas and concepts and implement them when they get back in their personal life or in their church life, or whatever it is that you're going, your professional life. And I think that that's a loss. So have a plan on what you're going to do, but at least try to implement at least 2 to 3 great nuggets when you return.
I love that. I love that. And a lot of pastors have become discouraged in sending their people to training because they're like, oh, I send those guys to training. They come back and they don't do anything with the information. As a matter of fact, I don't know what they got from them. We just spent money, eh? And we need to change that. So if you're a leader, if you're a part of an organization and they're sending you to training, I love those tips with Pastor Rosemary just shared. Pastor Rosemary, on Saturday this weekend, I'm having a virtual training opportunity for ministry leaders. I felt the need that we wanted to go and bring an opportunity for people to be equipped because the church doors are back open. And Easter, they said some churches opened back for the first time this past Easter. And you know, some would have opened up much earlier, but this past Easter, for the most part, they're saying it's all open. Everything's open back up. And with that said, I said, okay, a lot of times we don't think about these subject matters, but how to become an outstanding leader in these times. You know, because leadership is changing. Leaders are learners. Well, and, you know, how to build a team after the pandemic. Oh my goodness, you know, I mean, how you build a team has changed as well. And then we talk about organizing your ministry for growth. The structure of the past may not be the necessary structure you need moving forward. Dealing with difficult people. Do you know how many people got offended with others because of what they posted on social media, and you know, they didn't call them, and they because you had to do more phone meetings, more text meetings, more Zoom meetings, more virtual social media platforms. It was incorporated in a lot of churches, and there have been some people who actually got offended because, you know, there is digital etiquette when it comes to dealing with people. If you don't type right, you could be causing offense with someone. Am I right? Because there's a lot that changes when I'm texting you versus you talking to me in person or on the line. And then we're doing a subject on 7 common mistakes ministry leaders are making and how to prevent those. Those are just some of the subject matters for this coming Saturday. It's an all-day virtual training for people anywhere in the world. You know, what's your view on these interesting topics?
Those are all wonderful topics. And I think what's stemming from all of this too is, as for being a great leader and having this ideal training, there should have been some crisis management training before we even got into this. Everybody needs to have that no matter what's going on, because when things happen suddenly, I live in Florida, it could be a hurricane. It could be anything. It could be a storm that could knock something out or wipe something out or destroy something in a region. And if you don't have an idea to maintain training in the midst of the storm, or in the midst of a crisis or something that is happening, you're doing a disservice to those who you want to serve, your members, your teammates, your clients, your customers, whoever it is, because you want things to continue. I think that it's great that you are doing this and you're offering training. And I want to encourage anyone that's listening to us today and seeing all of the great social media things that you're putting out about this training to be a part of it, because we can never stop training no matter what's going on. I believe that even in the pandemic, I know you did some training, I did some training. We kept it going because we needed the morale of the people, the leaders that were on the grounds doing what they were doing, trying to maintain whatever they were doing, whether it was through virtual or trying to, meet people in their homes or calling people on the phone or whatever they were doing, they were still trying to maintain connectivity. And in order to do that, a great leader is going to always be ready for the challenge, because they know the challenge is worth the effort and what they want to produce and their purpose. So I believe that continuing to do all of these things is going to be awesome, and people need to be engaged and they need to be inspired once again to know what is going to be happening. And I want to say this too. You made a point about, everybody's getting ready to go back into the church. If you haven't started thinking about going back into the church all of this time and you're just now thinking about it, you're behind.
Yeah. Wow.
You should have been thinking about that when we got into the pandemic. Yes. What is it going to look like when we come out of it? What's our strategy? What's our plan? Rallying the team, finding out who's still in and who's left and who's out, knowing what to implement first and second and third. And I think this training that you're going to offer is going to give some insight to that. It's going to help take away some of the stress that people may have about going back in. And it's going to give them some relief because you're going to give them some solutions. And that's what it's all about. So, us being problem solvers and offering solutions to people in training.
Excellent. Pastor Rosemary, tell us a little bit about some of the services you got going on. I've been following you, and I was like, this is a busy woman. This is a woman, God is using her in such an amazing way. I want to make sure that those that are viewing us are aware of what you have to offer, because it's just some really good stuff.
Yeah, so for me right now, I'm actually in the middle of conducting a webinar, which is virtual, and it's
Uh-huh.
called Leveraging Faith in the Workplace. It's been amazing. We've been talking about some great things about how we can not be fearful coming into the workplace with our faith, because it is who we are.
Yeah.
Doing some private mentorship with individuals and some group mentorship, starting out leveraging some of the things that I'm doing as an author, and making sure I'm continuing to produce things and books and platforms and things like that. So I'm really excited, but it's all about building better lives. That's my mantra and what I'm all about right now. And that's in someone's personal, professional, and family life. Doing a lot of things with married couples. So if there's any married couples out there and they want to engage in some of the things that we're doing, had a marriage deep dive recently. I'm going to be doing another one. So it's some exciting times, because I believe that all of the resources and all of the things that God has given me, someone out there needs it. And so I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing and enjoying the journey, but just building better lives for people.
The concept enjoying the journey, I'm a big fan of it. You know, my platform, we talk a lot about creating a life you don't need a vacation from. Where do you get that passion? Before we close this out, what keeps you going? Because you know, there are some people, well, at this stage I already gave in and put out there what I'm gonna put out there now. Is just I'm gonna chill on the porch of comfort and just chill out. But you're blazing a trail still. You're still going and you're doing amazing things and you're enjoying it. What stirs that up and keeps you going?
I think for me, I'm a lover of people, and I love to see people transformed. I love to see people get to the place where they want to be. I love to see them see success in their life and know that they have the ability to make it happen. And so, as long as we keep training people, as long as we keep investing in them, then I believe that's the true purpose and call of a leader, is to invest in others, not to invest in a property. That's good too. We want to invest in property and land and houses and everything. But when we invest in people, that's the real legacy. Because when we're gone from this planet, then we know we have left something in someone else's life that has made them better. And so for me, just being a lover of people, and I think that's something God has put inside me. And that's the fire that keeps me going. So
Thank you so much for giving us your time this morning. Pastor Rosemary Winbush, ladies and gentlemen, from Jacksonville, Florida. Please follow her on all social media platforms. As she mentioned just now, she's offering some exceptional services to help you from marriage, from as a believer, for those of you called to work with the next generation, those of you who are wanting mentorship and coaching. Go and check out their business. Phenomenal woman of God. Great, great couple. And I love the fact that you guys did something with Vito and Linda Patrick not so long ago. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I know you have another engagement to go to. So thank you so much for joining us today here on Effective Living. Have a great day, Pastor Rosemary.
you too. Thank you so much for having me again.
God bless. Bye-bye.